Hey everybody, it's your daily report with your friend Angry Tim. Today I wanted to talk about not with just all the crazy layoffs going on. People aren't hiring people who have jobs. They're getting their hours cut. They're getting they're getting fired if they're not coming back to the office. So there's a big problem in the workplace right now. But this is a new one I just found. This is out of Yahoo Finance. The title is Why Are Gen Zers Getting Fired Just Months After Being Hired? So even the ones who do, after they finish college, they finally find a job, and just a few months later, they're getting fired already. So there's a huge problem in the workforce. Some of the key points, they say high hopes versus reality. Gen Z workers are entering the workforce with high hopes and ambition, but the transition isn't going as planned for many. A September survey by Intelligent.com found that 60% of employers have already let go of Gen Z hires just months after they started. The reasons for termination: lack of motivation, poor communication skills, unprofessional behavior are at the top of the list. Other issues include tardiness, inappropriate workplace attire, and unrealistic expectations for quick promotion. Man, the workplace has changed a lot since I was younger. I remember I hired, this was probably like in the early 2000s. They were like the millennials were kind of the young ones, and they were a big problem back then. I guess the Gen Zers, and these are identified as people or young from children age of 12 to 29 years old. So that is the range of a Gen Z. Um, so a lot of these, they're in their 20s, maybe just out of college or high school, and this might be their first job. Um, Lack of motivation. Yeah, I mean that might go for other generations as well, but yeah, they're definitely not motivated. I mean, it could have a lot to do with inflation, where it's not worth it. Whatever the minimum wage is in your area, 10, 11, $12 an hour, it just doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't pay for your car. It doesn't cover rent. It barely covers just your cost of living. So I can see why would you be excited to go to work? Because you work all day, 40 hours a week, and at the end of the month, you're barely scraping by, or you're actually getting more into debt. So there's nothing exciting about that, right? And then with YouTube and all these other things, there's videos after videos, all these people making millions of dollars. So it seems like um, this kind of the get rich quick mentality is out there, where they feel like this is, the pay isn't worth their time, but the reality is it's not that easy, to make that $1 million overnight. So they still have to go to work. They're still stuck at their job, but they're just, yeah, they're not motivated. There was a term they were using a while ago called quiet quitting, where you do the bare minimum not to get fired, but you don't do any, you don't come in early for work, you don't stay late for work, you don't go above and beyond. You just do the bare minimum, come and go, and you don't put any effort into your job, basically. So well, now they're getting fired. I guess for a while you were able to get away with that because there was a lack of workers, but now that businesses, that it it slowed down, so they don't need that many workers. They're trying to cut costs. So if you're unmotivated Gen Zer, well, looks like you may be getting fired if you haven't already. Another issue, they said, poor communication skills. Um, I don't know if that's because everyone's on social media now. No one talks face to face, so a lot of these kids grew up on Facebook or just texting, and they didn't really have normal conversations with people. So um, I'm just wondering if that's normal for that whole generation, where you can't just talk face to face with them and communicate ideas or solve problems or anything, where they constantly have to be on their phone, or um, just basic communication skills. So yeah, I could see that. That's a problem. They also say unprofessional behavior um, includes tardiness. So again, if you're not motivated, you're not going to try to make it to work early or even on time. They just show up when they feel like it. Maybe after they grab their Starbucks uh, frappuccino or whatever, and they'll mosey their way into the office 5 or 10 minutes late every day, like it's no big deal. Apparently, it is because they're getting fired. Um, Inappropriate workplace attire. So, and maybe this just shows my age, but yeah, I mean, we always, no matter what the job was, even if it was minimum wage pay, you always looked your best, you acted your best, you showed up on time, you did what you were told. You didn't talk back to the boss, even though maybe you thought he was an idiot or whatever. But you respected the boss and your place in the workforce. So dressing, you kept your hair nice, you shaved, make sure your shirts are ironed and whatnot, and you always looked good for work. That was just common sense back then. I mean, things that I call common sense, probably it's not such a common thing anymore, but that's a given. You shouldn't even have to, like, please don't wear, flip flops and pajamas to work or brush your hair or, it's like, anyway, yeah, I can totally see that. Another one was unrealistic expectations for quick promotion. So that probably has a little bit to do with everyone is special. So, these kids graduate from college thinking they're geniuses, and um, these companies are lucky to have them. So when they show up for work, they're expecting, quick promotions because they're so smart and they think they're going to be getting, higher and higher positions and bigger salaries just for showing up because when they open their mouth, it's just pure genius coming out. And unfortunately, that it's not like that. And yeah, they're getting fired because reality is no, you're going to have to work the long hours, come in early, stay late, and if you can prove your worth, if you can make money for the company or save money or you do something productive for the company, you'll be rewarded. But just showing up late in your pajamas, drinking a Starbucks, um, having no communication skills, again, you can't even have a conversation with anyone, you can't be trained. Yeah, that doesn't make for a good worker who deserves promotion and pay raise. So um, I guess these Gen Zers, their expectations. Well, I guess they thought if they went to college, again, I'm not putting all the blame on them because there's a whole, again, it's a business, right? The school system, they kind of sell that idea that if you go to college and get your college degree, that you're going to be set for life, and that's what they brainwash these kids with. And yeah, their expectations were not met. But unfortunately, they're taking it out on the workplace, right? They're blaming their boss or the company, but it's the school system. They took your money. Um, Employer frustration. Employers are frustrated and rethinking whether it's worth hiring recent graduates. You know, it used to be that the recent graduates were the kind of the most educated because they just came out of school. They kind of whatever they were studying, computer science or whatnot. They kind of know all the newest things. You can pay them a little less. You're able to train them better because they're young and fresh. But I guess now that doesn't work because employers are frustrated and rethinking whether it's worth hiring these people. So maybe they're saying, let's skip that generation. Maybe we'll hire millennials because these Gen Zers are just not doing, what we thought they'd be doing. We thought we could hire them, train them, and they'll be productive workers. But again, they're showing up late, coming in their pajamas. They don't care. They have the bad attitude and they expect pay raises and promotions right away just for showing up. So, yeah, employers are frustrated. They say 1 in 6 employers say that they're hesitant to bring on new grads, and some companies outright avoid them in next year's hiring cycle. So, wow, good luck, Gen Zers. But you know what? If you do not have the traits of a typical Gen Zer and you are hardworking, you show up on time, you show up early, you stay late, and you're going to give it your best and learn and try and, be productive, make money for the company or whatever you're supposed to be doing and be a good worker, you're not going to have much competition. So you should be getting those pay raises and promotions because the rest of your generation seem to be a bunch of slackers. So if you are hardworking, hey, the world is open to you now because all these other kids are just, sitting at home. I don't know what they're doing on Netflix and whatnot, and they want to have a mansion and a Lamborghini in the garage, but they're not willing to put in the effort. Um, they say this is a global trend. Similar trends are observed in Australia, but not as severe. Gen Z workers often struggle to take constructive criticism, which creates friction with managers. So, yeah, I guess if you know everything, you just graduated from school, so you got the degree in whatever. So now you're smarter than the boss. No one should be telling you what to do and how to do it because you're a genius, right? Because you just got your degree. And well, that's not really how it works. And yeah, unfortunately, that degree isn't worth much if they're just firing you because you're not able to do the simple, tasks that they're giving you as a new uh, hire. TikTok is full of Gen Z employees sharing their stories about being fired, blaming rigid workplace cultures, and admitting they weren't prepared for the reality of their role. So yeah, it's the real world is when you finish school. So a lot of these kids are going to have to learn the hard way. When you're going to school, you're taking your tests. All these things are very sheltered. Um, and you think that's just kind of how the world's going to work. But when you step into the real world, no one really cares. You're not special. You gotta be productive. It doesn't matter, what degree you have or how smart you think you are. You gotta show up on time, right? You gotta put in the effort. You gotta work hard. You gotta do what your boss says. And if you're in sales, you better make sales. You can't make excuses. You can't fight with the boss all the time and blame other people and just, wave around your degree saying, where's my promotion? I got such and such degree. I went to school for 4, 5, 6 years. I deserve better. You don't respect me. You don't appreciate me. All the things that employees say. So, um, yeah, it's a very, very different world now. Um, so it's not, I mean, there are companies that are trying to hire people. And yeah, these are just some of the frustrations they're having with the younger kids. I don't know if they're going to change their ways or maybe, maybe they'll have to start a business on their own. But you kind of need the basics. I don't know if you just go straight from college, with the wrong attitude or the wrong reality, how that will do for you because apparently they're not too familiar how reality works. So you kind of need a little bit of a background before you can go out and start your own thing. But I don't know if these kids, it's a lot harder work to start a business than to just have a job. When you just have a job, you just show up, do your work, go home. You don't have to worry about paying the rent, the bills, employee, all the expenses of a business. You just if you put in your 8 hours, you get paid whatever your 20, $30 an hour, and you go home. Um, so it's a lot harder to start a business than to just go have a job. But mentally, yeah, maybe it's more stressful if you're doing a job you don't like. Um, but there's stress, on both sides of that. I can get more into that in another video, but this is just a quick update on the companies that are hiring and the ones that are hiring the recent college graduates. Um, they end up firing them. And that's too bad because there's not a lot of jobs out there, and there's a whole generation of graduates because it's between 12 years old and 29 years old. So these kids, like every year, there's going to be more and more of these Gen Zs graduating from high school and college, and hopefully they don't all have this same attitude because no one wants to train them, no one wants to work with them, and where are they going to go? What are they going to do? I don't think they're all going to be able to start their own business. They don't seem motivated enough to do that anyway. And since they think they're right and they don't take criticism well, they're going to have a hard time with whatever they do. So good luck to you if you're a Gen Zer. And again, if you're a hardworking Gen Zer, you should have no problem finding a job and being promoted, to some management position. And maybe you can train your colleagues, your friends from school and whatnot, how to become good, productive workers. So I'll have more for you in another video, but that's all for today. Your friend, Angry Tim.